to have friends in high places and make that call on the end of the game.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone had just about trying to get under cover. Look, the Hawks wanted to shorten the last quarter, and then when the rain came, it's handy having the coach's box right next to each other. So I think we were both got players who are probably going to have to front the tribunal, and when the weather's like that, 2 weeks before round one, you're just worried about getting your players through unscathed.
There wouldn't be anything to gain that last 10 minutes.
No. I mean, we came into the game with a genuine practice match mentality. We had to get game time into specific players. Andrew Swallow and Michael Frito, we also took out of the lineup. So, and that was for the purposes of that we think they've done enough and ready for round one. And also, we've got about, by my rough calculations, about 2 or 3 spots that 10 or 12 players are putting their hands up for. So we wanted to give them really good opportunities to try and push their case against what was pretty much a round one dress rehearsal for Hawthorn.
Who are the blokes that you haven't been able to get enough sort of game time to really be satisfied with where they'd be at this stage?
No, none now, and that's been the good thing about this pre-season for us. We were able to get our what looked like pretty close to our best lineup together and play some really good footy, and then once we were comfortable with that, it's just a matter of giving guys like Jordan Gisbert's plenty of time on ball. Taylor Hine, we really rate as a competitive defender, and I thought he was terrific today. We'll just fingers crossed that he comes out of the tribunal okay. But really good to see him. And there are a number of other players, Goldstein and Curry, managing the balance. Not often you go into a side with 6 key forwards and 3 ruckmen, but that's what we did today. But it's a practice game, and we're just trying to get all the information we need to select the side for round one.
So what's your overall impressions from that, Brad? You get walloped by 81 points, but the way you're talking, you actually got a hell of a lot out of it.
Yeah.
So, you went in with specific ideas about what you wanted to do.
Yeah, we wanted to play Grime 100% of the game because he needs the work. It's not often that you do that to when the opposition's rotating their forwards, but we really wanted to put him under real duress to see how he could get through the game, and we thought he did a really good job. So, the result, for us, the scoreboard's irrelevant today. We're just trying to get certain things out of the game, and we achieved some of them. Others we were disappointed about because we gave players opportunities and they didn't quite take them.
Yeah, Goldstein and Curry's been a source of conversation for a couple of weeks. What were your thoughts out of that one?
I thought Goldie played his best quarter in the first quarter in about 2 or 3 years. So he looked right back to his very best form. Dan wasn't as good today, but he's been absolutely fantastic the last couple of weeks. So we're going to have a really tough decision to make there, and if in fact we do go with just one of them. But look, we've got as much information from the two of them as we possibly could, and given them both ample opportunity.
Grime today, Brad, to be right for round one.
Yeah, well, based on that performance, we think so. He had one he actually played in the VFL last week, which was really good to get some game time, but he really needed it. And to play 100% game time today was what we were planning for, and he came through really well. So, with Thompson and Atley and McMahon, etc., not there, we thought he led the defence, under some pretty heavy attack there in the third quarter.
Will you look to get some game time into players through the VFL next week?
I doubt it. We're just about. We've had Lee Adams come back and play the last 2 now, so he's had enough. Just about across our entire list, we've got game time into those players that need it. So now it's about fine tuning for round one and deciphering all the information and picking what we think's our best side.
You talk about how a couple of players who you gave opportunities to and didn't take them. Who in particular you sort of dropped out of the running for round one? Do you think?
Yeah, I think that I'm not going to individualise and name them, but the reality is that it's a really tough gig for very young players to come in and expect to play really well against last year's grand finalists, and that's probably Hodge and Rioli, Suckling aside, is the best they can put out there. And some players, we thought Aidan Kennedy showed some AFL attributes, and some good things. But he now knows the intensity over 4 quarters at AFL levels. There's a vast difference between VFL and AFL. Taylor Garner got a really good taste of what it's about. He showed that he's going to have some really good attributes in the future, but he's still a little bit of a way off it. But it's his first AFL game. So, but I mean, those 2 guys are not the ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about some others who are fighting for 2 spots, and there's about 8 of them.
Yep.
Sorry, just on Curry and Goldstein again, did you see enough today to suggest that they could work in tandem in a game, or are you still leaning towards that one ruckman mate?
Oh, look, I mean, who does it in the AFL these days? I mean, the Swans did it, but they don't have the key forwards. One of the ruck plays key forward. So the West Coast do it because Nat Nui's a rare athlete. So other than that, there are very few clubs who can do it with 3 on the bench and 1 substitute. So I'd say it'd be very unlikely that we go that way. But it's a good problem to have that they're so close at the moment.
So in terms of round 1, Brad, how many spots would you say are up for grabs?
Look, just off the top of my head, we left probably 12 first-choice players, 13 first-choice players out of our side today. So you think most of them would come back in. And so, it's probably like most teams. The 18 or 19 players generally pick themselves, and then, for the last 3 spots, we've got about, 8 to 12 guys in that bracket.
Did you get any injuries out of it?
No, everyone's okay at this stage.